really excited to have you all here in this session, and I'm stoked to take you through my 5-step Weave Joy process to help you learn how you can begin to create content, build your brand, and market yourself with joy, one feel good thing at a time. All right, if you're ready, give me a J in the comments for joy. Let me see. Y'all are ready. All right, I'm just gonna hop into it. I'm really excited for this slideshow. And in the meantime, as we're setting this up, I would love to hear where you guys are coming from, what the name of your businesses are, as well as why you are here in this session. What are some of the biggest things that you're currently struggling with as it relates to your content creation process and branding yourself? Let me know. Drop those things in the chat, and we will check out a little bit of what you have to say. And I look forward to getting into it with y'all. Okay. Can you guys see my presentation? If you can, let me know, let me know. All right. I think you guys got it. So, like I said, my name is Lasan, and I'm so excited to have you here, learning how you can begin to brand yourself with joy as you share your story, build your business, and align your brand identity one feel-good thing at a time. Ooh. So I want to walk you through a little bit about today's agenda. The main idea here is to amplify your joy around building your business, your branding, and your marketing process, because it can be a little hard, especially with all the things that you have to manage as a business owner, as a woman, as a person, more than likely as a Black woman, okay, or a woman of color. There are so many levels to having a business and making sure that you stay aligned in how you operate your business. But like I said earlier, the content piece, the marketing and branding piece should be the part where you really sprinkle your sauce in understanding who you serve and how you serve them well. In order to kind of illustrate this process and show you why it's so beneficial and how I know it works, I'm going to take you through my journey to purpose. This is how I came to understand this process. This is also how I also began to build my business and how I know it works so well. And also sharing some journey stories that have taken place along the way from individuals and clients who use this process to help them in building their business. Then I'm going to take you through the Weave Joy method and sharing 5 steps to branding yourself and creating content that connects with joy. And we're going to be taking some questions. So if you have them, make sure you drop them in the chat. Or if you'd like, you can hold on to the questions and put them at the end of the conversation when we're done with the presentation. So that would probably be better. So that way we don't lose sight of where the questions are along the way. Hold your questions, write them down though, because I don't want you to forget them. Write them down. And then you can put all of your questions at the end of this presentation so we can make sure we get into them and answer them so that you get what you need. All right, you guys ready? I think you're ready. So, hi there, again. My name is Lasan, and as a joy strategist, I help overwhelmed and entrepreneurial women develop creative solutions to understand how they can infuse more time, energy, and space for joy into their life and business. And the main idea here is to help you all find freedom in how you're building your business and doing so in a way that doesn't feel like work. But as a corporate consultant, I also facilitate workshops and trainings to help organizations learn how they can maximize engagement, increase productivity, and prioritize well-being for the women and caregivers in their organizations, because it makes a difference, y'all. But as we get started in this conversation around branding yourself, I want you to know that your identity matters, okay? I'm gonna say this again. Your identity and how you identify yourself matters. Personally, I identify myself first and foremost as a child of God. I also consider myself to be a multi-passionate creative because there are so many ways that I do the things that I do. And as I've kind of gone through my journey, I began to understand how all of those things contribute to my purpose and the way in which I serve others. On top of all of this, I'm a woman, right? I'm also a mom, a wife. I'm first generation American, I'm Nigerian American, and I'm a lover of people. So all of these things really contribute to how I identify not only who I am, but how it helps me show up in my business and in building my brand. And the reason in which I started off with the Child of God is because it really helps frame how I do the things that I do and the understanding and the mindset that is needed to facilitate the things that I do. So as we move on, I'd like to have you take a quick moment, like, I don't know, 3 seconds to consider your identity. How do you identify yourself? And I want you to write that down on a piece of paper, because what I want you to understand is that the way you consider yourself, the identity that you give yourself is first and foremost in the branding process. So often, especially as women, especially if you're a caregiver, it can be very easy to allow other people to place an identity on you, an identity of who you are, what you should be doing, how you should be doing things. As a business owner, how you should be operating your business. And it can be very easy to be influenced by other people's thoughts, their considerations, and their experiences. And we can take that on as women, and it impacts not only our life, it impacts our careers, and it can also impact our relationships. So the moment you get clear on your identity, it really helps foster space for joy in the business building and branding process. But don't worry, we're going to get into it a little bit more. So write down your identity. How do you identify yourself? And as we begin to do this, I want to share that I create for a living, and you can too. But it really starts again with first understanding who you are, what you do, your vision, your values, your mission, and all of those things. So I want to share with you a little bit about my journey. But before we do this, I want you to visualize joy. I want you to go on a journey with me and visualize joy, okay? I want everybody to close their eyes. I'm looking at y'all. I'm just but I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to experience joy, like a fullness of joy, but not only joy for yourself, but joy for the world. I want you to close your eyes and consider a world where everyone gets to do more of what they want to do versus simply considering the things they think they have to do. Close your eyes and think about it. What would a world where everyone gets to do more of the things that bring them joy look like? What would it feel like? What would it taste like? What are some of the things that come to mind for you? And as you begin to close your eyes and envision this utopia of a world, I'd like for you guys to drop in the chat some of your responses. Like, what are some of the things that you see? What are for yourself as well as for the world? What are the images that come to mind? What is the feeling that comes to mind? Yeah, I want to know. Let me know. The things that you guys have put in the chat, that's the wave that I'm on, okay? Like, I love to see it. I love to see it. It's awesome. Oh my gosh, yeah. So y'all get what I'm saying, right? You understand. You completely understand why it is so important that we as women, as business owners, as caregivers, as people, prioritize our joy. So this vision of a world where everyone lives in joy is what influenced my personal mission. And my mission is really simple. It's to transform the world and future generations through radical joy. And I happen to do this by way of helping women find joy through purpose, by way of open conversations and holistic experiences. But I need you to understand that this mission started off with the vision of joy. And the vision of joy really came back to me understanding who I am and what it is that I want to contribute to the world and the way in which I want to do it. How many of you have your brand mission written somewhere on a piece of paper, in your drive, in a notebook somewhere? Like, I have no idea. But I would love to hear from you guys what your company and your brand's mission is. And understand that if you don't necessarily have it completely ironed out as it relates to your business, you could have a personal life mission. What is that mission? If you have that, I'd love for you guys to drop it in the chat so we can check out what some of your missions are and how they align with the business and the work that you do. And as we do that, we're gonna hop into this conversation around branding, because a lot of times, I think that this is one of the biggest myths, that branding is about the aesthetic. And yes, the aesthetic is a part of the branding process, but it's about so much more than the pretty pictures, fonts and colors, okay? Branding yourself, branding your business really starts with knowing yourself. And the moment you get clear on who you are, again, we're gonna keep coming back to this idea of knowing yourself and identity. But the moment you get clear on who you are, it can help influence your brand, okay? It can help influence the colors that you choose. It can help influence the fonts that you choose. It can help influence the type of content that you create and the aesthetic that you curate over time. But in order for any of that to be done, it really has to start with you knowing yourself. Because as you begin to build your personal brand, you can align your business to work with that. And you also begin to understand that your brand is the feeling you want people to walk away with. It's not something that is as simple as colors and pictures. It's really about the impression that you and your business leave on your audience, your consumer, your client, you know, the people that you're servicing and you're working with. So we're gonna get into how this works in 5 steps. But as we do this, I wanna share my journey to purpose and again, how I came to this realization. And it started in 2005 when 2009 when I graduated from college, because adulting is hard. I don't know how many of y'all can relate, but they don't prepare you, man. They don't prepare you for adulting. In 2009, I graduated from the college and I entered real adulthood. But unlike what I expected, I was unable to find a job. I wasn't able to create consistent income. I felt lost and confused because I graduated during the recession. So basically all of the things that I thought I would end up having or achieving in life because I followed the perfect system, none of those things happened for me. And I found myself in a state of depression. I was crying every day. I was super unhappy with where I was in the life that I was living. And then I, at one point, decided to quit the thing that I was doing and really just pursue a life of joy, joy first living, joy first mindset. That's really what I wanted to do. And that led to me creating not only my jewelry line or picking that back as a hobby, it also led to me having a 7-year career as an on-air host and living like my best life, doing all the things that I enjoy. The second part in the journey that led to this understanding of joy being necessary to brand myself was becoming a wife and a mom, because now fast forward 7 years after graduating, I have built this career that I loved. Like, I loved talking to people on the street. I loved creating content. I loved just using conversation as a way to entertain people, but educate them at the same time. And that started from building a personal brand. But then in 2016, I had an identity shift because I became a mom and a wife for the first time. And that led to me thinking that I had to sacrifice my goals, my dreams, my aspirations, my joy to care for my family. I don't know how many of you guys can relate. And so with that, the brand that I had built over 7 years, being a woman on the go, a person who lived in New York City, being a commuter that rode on a bike, and all of these things that really kind of made up my personal identity, but also my brand identity, because my brand was attached to my lifestyle, really took a hit. And I wasn't sure of where to go or how to transfer all of the brand equity that I built for the 7 years prior. So once I became a mom, my identity started to revolve around motherhood. And so my brand then began to reflect a lot of motherhood stuff. I started a blog called Adventures of a Live Rich Mommy. And from there, I began to share tips and tricks about motherhood and how to make it more efficient and effective. And in that period, outside of the blogging, which then became somewhat of my job, I hadn't really taken on a lot of outside creative projects. And I, at that point, realized that I needed to focus on my joy more than I needed to focus on work and my family. And so for 16 months, I just did the good mom, good wife thing. And I released my first creative project just for myself in almost a year and a half, and that was called the Liverish Mommy Wrap. And a week later, I found out that I was going to be pregnant again. So at that point, I really had to get clear about what it was that I wanted to do moving forward. And then at one point, I also watched my mother transition into retirement. And at that point, I also realized how important it was for us to know who we are, right? And the way in which we serve others. And even if we don't have a business, recognizing that your brand matters, recognizing that your identity matters, and recognizing that it's super important for you to know what your life's mission is. And when you're clear on all those things, how it can help you serve people through your life, your business, your career, it really doesn't matter. But you yourself, I hope you guys hear this. I hope this is landing for you guys, but you yourself, irrespective of your business, are a brand. So whether you're building your business, whether it doesn't exist yet, I need you to understand that you are a walking brand and what you put out matters. So this was the process that came to help me understand the importance of branding myself, because in each of these steps or each of these seasons of life where I didn't have anything concrete as far as a job lined up, the things that I did do as it relates to my personal brand helped set me up for the next level of my journey and future opportunities. So how did I go from a depressed, unpaid, broke college graduate to a joy strategist? What I did was I went on a journey to joy, and it led to me creating my first product as a joy strategist in my work, which is called the Joy Quest. And it was really a process of understanding, again, rediscovering my identity, igniting my passions, i.e. joy, the things that bring you joy, and reclaiming that joy unapologetically. And I'm going to tell you what I did to begin that process and how you can begin to do the same. As you journey to joy, you got to first rediscover joy. What does joy mean for you? What does it look like? Hint, hint. You kind of already started to do this when we had our visualization exercise earlier. But when you begin to rediscover joy, it makes it a lot easier to flow with the flow. And I believe that the moment you begin to follow what feels good, it sets you up for the journey to purpose. For me personally, that looked like a lot of things. As a multi-passionate creative, like I said, I create a lot of stuff. So it looked like getting back into jewelry design. It meant singing and writing, doing poetry and stories. Sometimes I would do nothing. Like sometimes doing nothing can bring joy. I would just sit down, people watch, and do street interviews. It also meant getting back to creating new projects and ideas that would kind of challenge and stretch my creativity. So I got into video production, show development, blogging. I even started a podcast and on-camera hosting, which is what led to this TV hosting workshop that I did with NBC Universal and the American Black Film Festival, as you guys see on the right. That was a week before I found out that I was pregnant and when I thought my life was over, but that's a story for another day. So as you guys are considering your journey to joy, what would rediscovering joy look like for you? I want you guys to take a quick second to just jot that down. If you got the opportunity, and you do have the opportunity because you're living, okay? As long as you have breath in your lungs and as long as we're here, you have the opportunity to create the life that you want. But what would glowing with the flow look like for you? Take a moment to think about it and write that joke down. As we begin to talk about how that correlates to your brand, because your brand is your vibe. And like I've mentioned a couple times over this presentation, branding yourself and marketing and creating your content should be fun, okay? F-U-N, fun foremost, okay? In order to do this, you need to make sure that the process of branding yourself and creating your content is enjoyable, because when it's enjoyable, it makes it effortless. You also have to make sure that your brand is authentic to who you are and that it's organic to what you do. But again, it doesn't have to be hard, and I'm going to show you how. Are you guys ready? Because I think that the next slide is the one that's going to like dive in. Are you guys ready to dive in? If you're ready to dive in, give me a D for die. I love calling out these random things. Let's see. I think I see some D's coming. Okay, I see some D's. Y'all ready? Here we go. So, branding yourself with joy and the Weave Joy method. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go, y'all. 5 steps, starting with step 1, why. In considering your brand, your business, your marketing strategy, and your content, what is the purpose? Okay, like, not to sound super philosophical, but like, I was about to say, what is the purpose of, like, why do we exist? But really kind of like, why do you exist? And thinking about the business that you're building, what purpose does this content, what purpose does your brand serve, right? What purpose does your business serve? Okay, and I want you to think about this beyond popularity, because as you begin to get super clear on why you do the things that you do, and let me tell y'all, this conversation of why goes so far beyond creating your content. It really is a question of your life. Like, why do you as a person exist? What gifts have you been given to serve others? How are you utilizing them? As you're doing them, what about doing them feels good? As you begin to ask yourself these questions, you can get very clear and kind of landing upon the answers around who you're meant to serve through the things that you do, and more importantly, why you're meant to do it. Because if you've been building a business for some time, you probably know that it's hard. It can be hard, and it can have really hard moments. But if you're super clear on why you're doing the things that you're doing, it makes it a lot easier to push through those hard times. And also realign yourself with your vision, your mission, and your values, which can really help you in the long haul of sustaining your business, but also in aligning you with the people that you're meant to serve through your business, okay? So as you're thinking about your brand, I want you to think about, what is the lasting feeling? What is the lasting impression you want people to have of you, your business, and the work you do? All of that comes back to your why and being super clear about your why. So now that we've touched on point 1, I want you guys to leave in the chat, what is your why? Do you know what it is? And I guess in this case, we could make why synonymous with purpose, right? What is the purpose of your business? What is the purpose of your business? What is the purpose of your brand that you're building? What are you hoping to do with this? And I want you guys to drop those things in the chat. Drop them in the chat. Ooh, yes. Yes, yes. Okay, we got some good stuff going on over here. You guys are so purpose-filled and purpose-led. It brings me a lot of joy to see these things. Okay. And as we begin to think about this, I also want you guys to recognize that it's not just about popularity. Yes, like gaining likes and follows, because at one point I know that was the wave as it related to content creation, branding, marketing. But what we're beginning to see is that there has been a shift in the trend. And social media trends, branding and marketing trends, that's a conversation for another day that I don't want to get sucked up in. But I want you guys to recognize in your business that you have the power to influence trends. Like, not just as it relates to the industry as a whole, but in your business. So don't give into the myths about popularity being what's needed in order for you to monetize your business, create success in your business, and build a business that you love. That's not the case. But when you're able to connect with the people that you're meant to, all of those things can happen, and with joy. All right, so I feel like I've talked about this enough. I don't want to like talk your ears off, because I want to make sure that we have time for questions at the end. So I'm going to move on to the second part of the Weave Joy process, which is E, embrace, okay? I want y'all to embrace your past, okay? And that means the messy parts, the secret parts, the juicy parts, all the parts. But more than anything, embracing your past allows you to free yourself of the shame, the conversations about worth, the fears that may keep you from actually fully and wholly sharing your story. And I want you guys to know that there is gold in your poop, okay? There's absolutely gold in your poop, okay? Because people like to be a part of experiences that they can relate to. And I know that oftentimes it can be thought, especially if you're just starting out with your business or your brand, like, oh, I'm not an expert in this thing, so how could I possibly share all of my revelations about this? Like, I'm not an expert in this. And you don't have to be an expert in the thing per se, because you're an expert in your life experiences, and that counts for something. One of the parts in my story that helped me acknowledge this and understand the joy of embracing my past was when I transitioned into becoming a mom and being a content creator for 7 years. For so long, I had done everything by myself. And not to say that when I would present my content or my brand, it was super clean and super polished. But when I became a mom, I tried to live up to a lot of what I'd seen motherhood look like. Which is a joke, because motherhood looks nothing like what it's presented as on Pinterest. Okay, how many of y'all are moms who can relate? But at one point, I remember doing these branded shoots for my blog, because again, like blogging was the thing, and everyone had super pretty pictures of motherhood. And it was when I had Aria. At that point, she was 2, and Jace was a newborn. And I remember kind of like pushing him off to the side so that he was never in the pictures. But then I'd always have to keep an eye on him at the same time. And then I remember like fussing with Aria, who at that point was a toddler. And I'd always try to time things so that she wasn't interrupted in her nap time. But sometimes she was fussy because she was a baby, you know? And I just remember at one point just trying to like force everything into working out. And at that time, I was working with someone that was a friend, and I remember asking her, like, how does this picture look? But it looked so uncomfortable. I felt so uncomfortable. I felt like I was all over the place. I felt like I was tired. I felt overwhelmed. And then I felt guilty because I felt like I was forcing my kids to participate in this thing that was not working authentically at that time in that moment. And I remember she said to me, you look like a mom that has 2 kids. And I don't know why this landed so like hard for me, but I was like, I am a mom with 2 kids. And it kind of like created this light bulb moment where it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And so at one point I started to show my motherhood journey as it actually was. And this is what it looked like at the time, as a creative, as a mother, as a wife, and as a stay-at-home mom at that. So it really took the mothering thing to another level. My kids were with me all the time. And on any given day, my life didn't look like Pinterest. It looked like this. So I remember sharing this post, and it was one of the most popular posts to date. Like, I got so much love and so many comments, and it's not just about the love, but the comments that allowed me to connect with the people that saw that post really created an engagement that allowed me to start building an actual community around motherhood and purpose. And so I'm sharing this because at one point, the messiness of motherhood was the part of my story that I was not embracing. It was the part that I was really trying to like keep brushed under the rug because I wanted people to think that I had my stuff together. And spoiler alert, none of us actually have our entire lives together. And so I want you guys to take a moment to think about the E in your life. Where are you not embracing your past? Where are you not embracing your past as it relates to your story and the work that you do and why you do it? Where are you not embracing your past? And I want you guys to take a moment right now to share how you can begin to embrace your past as you share your story and your brand. So what would the E in your story look like? And I want y'all to drop those things in the chat. Where are you hiding from some shame or some fear or whatever it is, the part of your story that you don't want to share because you think it's not picture perfect or whatever that is? Let us know in the chat, because trust me, the moment you begin to share those experiences, you will find your people. And branding yourself will get easier because then you get to find freedom in how you share that part of your life. All right, so Oh gosh, we're running up on time. So I want to make sure that I breeze through these next couple. We're now at part 3 in A, acknowledging your present and owning it. Because, and I kind of started to allude to this in the last slide, but comparison is the thief of joy, y'all. Like legit. And as you begin to acknowledge your present and own it, that's really where you get to find joy in the process of branding yourself, because you're no longer beholden to your past, right? You can embrace your past, but that doesn't mean you have to stay there. You get to own your present, and as you own your present, you can begin to plan for the future. So as you begin to acknowledge your present, that's really where the idea of your branding colors, the aesthetic or the vibe that you're trying to create, the fonts, all of the things that really make you you and how you currently identify yourself can begin to come into play. For me personally, like at one point in my journey, I was like very rugged with it, but then, and I don't think that I really cared so much about like my womanhood, but having my children kind of made me embrace my womanhood and acknowledge, like, I am a woman, hear me roar. And so at one point I really began to feel super feminine, and I like started wearing like a lot of sensual, I don't want to say sensual jewelry, but I really started to like care about my appearance and the way I showed up more, like how I felt in my body, how I cared for my body. My branding became a little more refined, where before it was kind of like, do the best you can with what you got. And not saying that you shouldn't do that, but I also realized that at one point, my brand needed to be elevated. And so I sat down at this point and got really clear on who I was and how I wanted that to show up in the way I branded my business, which is kind of what you guys see now. Like I changed my font colors from like red and black and stuff that really resonated for me from high school. But then I realized in this point of my motherhood journey, my womanhood journey, I really wanted to feel light and fresh. And so it feels really weird saying this, but for the longest, it took a really long time for me to acknowledge that yellow was my favorite color. And, and it was because I felt like, man, but red has always been my favorite color. Red has always been, I felt like I was cheating on the color red. But at one point, it's like, I like the color yellow. So really understanding yourself, the season of life you're in, and how you want to convey those things in your content marketing, the writing, your images, your colors, your font, all of those things, that's where this can come into play. So as you begin to acknowledge your present and own it, what are some elements of yourself that you can bring into your present brand? And for some people, that may mean doing a rebrand. You know, and let me tell y'all, sometimes that can be really hard to do, but you can let go of the past and really focus on what it is that you want to create right now. And it doesn't have to happen all at once. Start with one feel-good thing at a time. Start putting that out there, seeing how it resonates with other people, but more importantly, seeing how it resonates with yourself. So let us know in the chat, what are you acknowledging about your present and how you want that to show up in your brand? It could be a color, it could be a font, it could be a part of your story that no longer resonates with you that you're willing to release. How are you acknowledging your present? How are you going to acknowledge your present and start owning it moving forward? As we go to, oh gosh, we're gonna have a quick JOYrney exercise. And this is something that's gonna help you guys get clear on how you can begin to acknowledge your present. We're gonna have some fun. You guys ready? Okay, you're like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're gonna take a quiz in understanding how your joy can serve your story. So I wanna take a quick minute or two for you to take this JOYgem quiz to understand how your unique strengths can serve your joy and your business in this season. As you guys begin to take this quiz, it shouldn't take more than 90 seconds. I'm gonna keep going, but you can visit the site ericlasan.com/quiz to do it. As you take this quiz, I want you guys to pop in the chat what your JOYgem type is. And in the event that you're not able to complete taking this quiz right now, I hope you guys have already started. Okay, I think you guys have. If you're unable to finish it, don't worry. The quiz is shared so that you can have access to it throughout this summit experience in the lead section. So if you visit the site, it'll definitely pop up. But I can't wait to hear what your Joy Gem types are, how they resonate, and how you believe these revelations can serve you in acknowledging your present. All right, how many of you have taken the quiz? What are your results looking like? Are you surprised? I hope you're surprised. Okay. I know the results are absolutely insane. It's a really fun quiz. I had a really good time making it. But again, I'd love to hear which part resonates with you guys and what was most surprising. But as we have more of these results filter in, I'm going to move on to V. Okay? Because we're almost at the end. This is the fourth step in branding yourself with joy. And it's really simple. It's to visualize your future so that you can begin to execute on it, okay? And when you are building your business, when you're building your life, it is so important to visualize where you want to go. You guys have already started to do this earlier in this presentation. Okay, you have an idea of what you'd probably like your joy-filled life to look like. You probably have an idea of what you want your joy-filled business to look like and what you want it to feel like. Now that you have an idea of what it looks like, you just have to begin to execute on it. But if you don't have the vision, it makes it very hard to get clear on how you can begin to execute it. And this is where the beauty of the journey comes into play, because you don't have to have all the answers in order to get started. You really just have to have faith, okay? You really just have to have faith, and you have to be willing to show up one feel-good thing at a time. As you begin to get clear on what your vision is, and as you begin to strategically execute some of those steps, you'll find that you'll gain clarity along the way so that you can fine-tune, refine, hone in on your brand, your mission, your vision, your values, all of those things, one feel-good thing at a time. And it makes the process of building your brand so much more effortless and so much more fun, which is really important, especially in the long game of building a business and a brand. So really quickly, well, you guys kind of acknowledged what your vision is, but what would a joy-filled business, as you visualize your business, what would your joy-filled business look like? What is one thing in your joy-filled vision of your business that you would like to begin to execute on? And how do you plan on executing it? This could be something that you guys keep to yourself, or if you're feeling with it and you really want to, you can pop that in the chat. As we head on to the last part of the journey, which is P. Everyone, recognize that you ain't for everybody, okay? And that is absolutely okay. While there are a lot of things that your business may do, there are a lot of parts of your brand that may resonate with a lot of people. Not everybody is your ideal client, your ideal consumer, like a person that you'd actually want to spend time with or work with, all of those things. So the moment you get clear on the fact that you're not for everyone, you can get super clear on who you are for and how your brand identity, how your content, how your marketing, how you as a person are meant to serve them. And this takes a lot of pressure off of the part of building your brand that I think keeps a lot of content creators and entrepreneurs stuck, because it can be very easy to want to serve everyone. But as you begin to serve everyone, you really begin to realize that you're probably not serving anyone, because it creates confusion. So out of the 7 billion people on the planet, all you got to do is find your little corner of the internet and understand how you serve them well. And as you begin to do that and get clear on what that looks like and what parts of your business, your brand, people resonate with most, you can begin to showcase more of those elements in your content and the way in which you deliver your brand. So for me personally, people like the fact that I was a mom on the go that also still had her own life. So I began to showcase more of me living my life as a mom on the go. At one point that included roller skating and my physical fitness. I am someone who loves tiny homes, and I love the idea of life on wheels. So I want to create a school bus house on wheels. That's called a schoolie. That's why you see that here. I'm also someone that commuted into the city every day for work, and I just loved exploring life on wheels and in New York City. So that's where that other picture is. Like living your life in a way that feels authentic to you and showcasing those elements of your story is really how you begin to build your brand. But again, it starts with embracing who you are, acknowledging who you are, and not trying to show up as someone or something that you're not. Because your brand is, again, not pretty pictures, colors, and fonts, but it's the impression and the feeling that people have when they engage with you and the work that you do. All right, so I'm going to do a really quick joy study to showcase what happens and what becomes possible when you're willing to go where the joy leads. I'm going to share a quick story of Daylene, who came to me because she was a freelance makeup artist working in television, but she also had a corporate background in finance, and she had two businesses, and she was trying to figure out how to make them both work. She came to me for content development and marketing ideas and understanding how she could share her story, and together we came up with digital products, programs, and trainings to help her understand how she could align all of these elements of herself, being a creative and a makeup artist, being a finance person, and being really good with numbers, and understanding how she could really align all of them so that she wasn't excluding any part of herself. And that's how Finance and Foundation and Lipsticks and Dreams not were born, but how she was able to understand how she could serve in both of those things without overwhelming herself. She left some really awesome words about the work that we did together. You can check out her story and other JOYrney stories on my site, ericalasan.com/testimonials. But I want to make sure that we do a quick review, okay? Because we said a lot in this very short amount of time, and I want to make sure that these key points land. All right, first the don'ts, okay? Because we just want to make sure that you nip these things in the bud immediately, okay? Don't try to be like everybody else, because there's only one of you, and the way in which you see things and do things in the world matters, okay? And while somebody else may do something similar to the thing that you do, they could never do it like you. So once you get very clear on how you're different, like double down on that, and you'll be able to find how you can create your brand and your business with a lot more joy and authenticity, but also you'll be able to attract the people that are really meant to work with you. Don't think that things have to be perfect in order to be done, because if that happens, you won't get very far. It'll keep you stuck, all right? Progress over perfection is the name of the game. Don't get bogged down and stuck thinking about all the things that you don't have in order to create the brand or business that you want, okay? One feel-good thing at a time. And if you begin to look at the obstacles as a way to be more creative, you may find that you'll get a lot further faster, and you'll come up with a lot more ideas that can help you distinguish your value and your differences in the market that you're in. Don't create content strictly aimed at the goal of making money, because that doesn't necessarily help your brand, and it doesn't help people get to know you better. As you begin to share parts of your story in your life, you'll be able to understand how you can create content that can also be monetized, but in a way that feels really aligned and can help you build community around what it is that you do. And let's hit on the do's really quick. Do lean into your story. I feel like I've spoken about that enough. Do what feels good, because it creates sustainable success and results. Do use your gifts, because it'll make it so much easier to create and curate your content. And do start today, because today is all you got. Just keeping it real, okay? Be the best you can with what you already have. So we're just getting started, okay? I want you guys, like, I've enjoyed this time so much. I want you guys to take your life and your business journey further, one feel-good thing at a time. I know that in this presentation, I've talked about a bunch of things, and I went really, really fast, but I created a whole book called the JOYrney Daily Planner. It's available on Amazon, and it really breaks down the process of starting with a vision, a huge vision, creating your mission, getting clear on what your mission is, understanding how it contributes to your brand, your content marketing strategy, breaking it down to literally months, breaking it down month by month, and then understanding how that can impact your revenue streams and how you bring money in. But understanding that it doesn't have to feel hard, overwhelming, or like a drain, because you should have fun in the process. So that planner helps you understand how you can begin to do that with joy, one feel-good thing at a time. And before we go, I want to leave you guys with some assignments, okay? First things first, partner up, grab an accountability buddy, somebody in this group. I don't know if there's somebody that's been in the chat that you really, really, really enjoy talking to, or reading their stories. Maybe y'all have been chatting in the chats. I don't know. I haven't been able to check as much because I'm focusing on sharing this material, but grab an accountability buddy. If you haven't yet, or if you weren't able to complete the quiz, take the JOYgems Superpower Quiz. It will help bring so much clarity to some of the things that you may currently be experiencing in this current season of your journey. And it can help you better understand your strengths, your gifts, and how to use them to serve the work you do. Then I want you guys to get social and play with us, okay? Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn and share your quiz results, because I still want to know. I want to know which JOYgem type you got and if it resonated. Outside of that, I want you guys to take each part of the Weave Joy method that we've highlighted here and really think about them now that you're having, you know what they all are, and you may have a moment to go back and watch this again later on. Think of how each part of the method can be integrated into your branding, your content, and your marketing strategy moving forward. And then lastly, just spread the love and share the journey with a friend who could use more joy in their life and the way that they're building their business, because it helps create accountability, and it also creates cheerleaders, and it creates a lot of joy in supporting you, like getting support as you build your business, but also in a way where you get to support others as well. All right, I'm like so excited. I'm having so much fun. But yeah, I want you guys to start your journey to get today, one feel-good thing at a time. As a special thank you for listening to me rant and ramble and rave around joy, I would like to invite you guys to our next Joy Bootcamp. You can find that at ericalasan.com/joy-bootcamp. I hope you choose to journey with us. I look forward to seeing you guys then. And in this session, we can dive a little bit deeper into your branding and your content questions, your business questions, your life questions around how you can facilitate more joy in your life, career, and relationships. One feel-good thing at a time. All right, we made it. Thank you again. I'd love to hear any key takeaways that you guys have from this experience. Drop them in the chat. Now is also the time for you to bring forward your questions as we journey further together, one feel-good thing at a time. And if you'd like to stay connected, feel free to shoot me an email at info@ericalasan.com or follow me on social media at Erica Lasan. I am so grateful for you guys being here, and I wish you much joy, success, love, blessings, peace, clarity, alignment, all the good things in your journey as you move forward. Thank you.
Erica, that was so good. Y'all are funny in the chat. People were did you see this?
I did. I loved it.
Man, they are cutting up. All right, y'all. So we have 5 minutes with Erica. So many questions, so many Dana, I see you. So many hands raised. So let me just pivot it first to the hands, okay? And then we'll get to the question box and we'll vacillate back and forth. Alexis, the mic is yours.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I promise I won't take up too much of your time. But first of all, if you are not already targeting social media managers, content managers, marketing automation managers, you absolutely should, because this is so valuable. And this is a lot of the hurdle that we have to overcome with our clients, because they want to tell the sales story or the thing that they're selling. They want to talk about the product's story, but they don't want to share their own story. And what comes to mind is my client, Brittany, and I told her already about you. So you might, I already done the reference. And I told her I was going to tell her story. But one thing about Brittany, she just made the transition from California to Arizona. She's a realtor. She had to leave her business behind in California and rebuilding in Arizona. She's also a real estate agent. Her husband's a doctor. She's a mom. They just bought a house. all of that valuable information, all of that, she can build her content story or her content pillars, her brand story around. And it's as if she refuses to do it because what does she have? A broker in her ear telling her, well, no, you need to do house tours and you need to do this to show the real estate side of you. Mm. And so the battle, the back and forth that she and I have is trying to find a balance between showing that she, is a professional real estate agent and she knows what to do versus all of this wealth of content that she has in just telling her story. Mm. So this is amazing. And you I gave her your IG and your website. So hopefully she'll be reaching out to you. But I told her, look, we got to do something because we have to elevate. We have to connect with these people on a deeper level.
Thank you so much, Alexis. And I hope that she does reach out because honestly, your telling of your story and sharing of your life, and it's not that you have to share all your business, but that is usually what allows people to buy into you as a brand. Like what differentiates you from every other like real estate agent or whatever the case is, it's people's ability to connect with you and relate to you. So thank you for sharing that and for the kind words and love. I really appreciate it. It's all fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alexis. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. You have so many questions, Erica. I'm trying not to talk to you because I get long-winded, but I'm going to just say, you're so beautiful, sis. Like every time I see you, whether it's the picture or live, it looks exactly the same. Just popping.
Thank you.
You love my love. Okay, so this one is from Andrea, and she asks, how does one even begin to know / find their purpose / life mission?
Oh my gosh, this is such a good question. And I know it's a really deep and heavy one, but it doesn't actually have to feel heavy. When a lot of people pursue this question of like, what is my purpose? They think, well, I have to find it. But the way I consider it and the way I look at it, you don't have to find what has never been lost. Purpose is what you're born with, okay? You were born with purpose. The purpose is still there. You just got to get rid of the muck and the mire and all of the other stuff that's been put on you that has led you to forget what your purpose is. And joy is a really wonderful way of helping you re-engage and reconnect with what that purpose is. I have a 3-step process and framework that allows people to go through this understanding of rediscovering, reconnecting, and recommitting to your purpose and identity through joy. But in order to jumpstart that, you have to be willing to rest and stop doing stuff. Stop doing stuff. The stuff does not help if you are not clear on where you're going. You're not, and that's where the vision comes into play. But in order to get there, you really first have to be willing to do something different. And a lot of times that something different is as simple as doing nothing. Give yourself the grace of stillness. Give yourself the joy of stillness so that you can begin the process of allowing yourself to do the work that's required for you to move forward in your purpose, but also recognizing that nothing is wrong with you. No part of your experience is ever a waste. It all contributes to you being able to live out your life's purpose and your mission. But first and foremost, be still and reconnect with your joy.
Yeah, you preaching, teaching. All right, y'all can be mad at me, but we got a DJ set, so we have to go. I'm gonna show one more question on the screen. Erica, I don't know. You got so many questions, sis. I don't even know, but I'm gonna show the next one. China, she asks, what was the key turning point for you when you decided to embrace your past? Oh, come on, sis.
Okay, this is a really good question. Yeah, Casey, I love this. All right. Like we're going to have to figure out something else because I want to talk to all of y'all and answer all your questions. Sorry. But the key turning point for me was motherhood. Because the beautiful piece of motherhood is summer break. Y'all see me looking over to the side. That's because I have my daughter with me. All right, Aria, come say hi because I know that's what you want to do. Real quick, give a wave. Okay, bye. But motherhood was the key turning point for me because at that point, it's either you can continue to do the things that you've been conditioned to do that don't serve you and leave you feeling stuck, constantly overwhelmed, feeling frustrated with where you are and feeling like you can't move forward, or you can just decide to stop and do something different. And motherhood really does give you the opportunity to, for me at least, it gave me the permission to do something different, because the way I was working wasn't serving me. And in thinking ahead, I had this consideration of, well, how do I want to be remembered as a mom? You know, like, do I want to be angry and frustrated? Do I want to be like, my kids like, she was always yelling at us because she was so tired. You know, different things like that. And so in the moment, after doing the good mom, good wife thing for 16 months, and like, it got to the point where I was like crying in silence by myself because of the overwhelm and the pressure that I felt, but I felt guilty verbalizing it. When I decided I'm not doing this anymore, and I really began to open up about how I felt in the moment and what I really wanted. And I know it sounded selfish to a lot of people, including my parents, but I had to commit to my version of joy. And they didn't get it. But as I began to do the stuff, it became something where it's like, low key, I know they wanted it too, you know?
Of course.
The joy of the journey. You get to break generational curses. You get to plant seeds of blessing that not only empower and benefit you, but they set future generations up for joy and well-being as well.
Ashe. Well, we have a great recommendation from Auntie Yvonne. She asked if you can grab a table in the lounge. So, Erica, there's a lounge in here. Once you leave this session, there's a lounge at the top of your screen if you're on laptop. Are you on laptop or phone or mobile?
I am on a desktop today.
Okay, so once you leave here, if not, listen, now I'm talking like you're going to say yes. She might say no, y'all. But in the lounge, there are these tables, and table 1, for instance, is the top one. If you sit there in the chair, other people can go sit there in the chair with you and continue to dialogue. If you're free, if you're not, completely understand, and we thank you for pouring into us in this session. It was fire.
Thank you. It's my absolute joy.
You are welcome, Mamacita. All right, well, I love you, girl. You know, we're gonna stay in touch. Keep doing what you're doing, because you fire. Y'all, somebody asked, where do you get these speakers from, Casey? So Erica and I met in community. We were in a group called iFund Women of Color. And what she's saying about like build communities, like actual communities versus like these, I mean, I get it. We want to sell, I get it, right? But anyway, we met in community that was created, and it was real connection there. And so the ROI that both of us continue to get from that group far exceeds the initial time we put in that application, right? So yeah, do with that what you will. I love you so much, Erica. Appreciate you
too, girl. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, y'all. So look, I don't know if Erica's gonna meet y'all at the table or not, but just go see, the DJ set is starting. DJ Red Corvette is gonna be on the 1s and 2s. Okay, she's gonna be on the 1s and 2s for 1 hour, and then we're going straight into, and I will personally say, some people are doing Blaze After Dark tonight. Y'all just tell people what time in the feed. I will personally say that I want to see y'all in the panel discussion that comes right after DJ Red Corvette. It is called The Art of Releasing Control, Managing Teams. I need you today to start planning for how you become as a manager. I know this is not common. Most of us do not know managers in entrepreneurship. We just don't. Okay. So yeah, let's do it, because success is strategic, not accidental. Oof. It's strategic, not accidental. See y'all in the next session. Love y'all. Amazing session. Thank you for your engagement. Bye.